What's up, everybody?
Welcome back.
And today we have a special guest. And that's
My dad.
Ryan's dad.
AKA the singer of Capital Lights.
So, Rylan is going to ask him some questions, and he's going to answer them for y'all. So, why don't you go ahead, Rylan.
So what was your favorite song to write in Capital Lights? Or in actually ever?
It would have been Capital Lights, probably. I don't know. When I wrote when we wrote the songs in Capital Lights, we wrote most of them like the year leading up to when we recorded the album. Some of them I don't really remember writing. They kind of fall together. One of the more fun ones was probably Worth As Much As a Counterfeit Dollar, just because that was one of the ones that I wrote first and showed the band, and everyone was excited. And at that time, I was only the bass player in After Eight, and I wanted to potentially become the singer because we had lost our singer. And so I wrote, I can't remember the name of the first song. I think it was called Now You Can Show and Show Up. And then I wrote Worth As Much As a Counterfeit Dollar. Those two are the ones that I showed the guys in the band, and everyone seemed to like it. Kind of gave a good reaction, said, "Oh yeah, this is great. Let's do this." And Bryson, you'll be the singer. And so those are the ones that I kind of got the best reaction to. So I liked those. And then after that, I don't know, we were just writing constantly, trying to come up with ideas for the album, because by that point we had a lot of interest with Tooth and Nail and a few other labels, and Aaron Sprinkle was asking us to write songs and send them to him, and then he would tell us if he liked it or not. All around, probably Worth As Much As a Counterfeit Dollar, maybe Outrage. That was a fun one. And then the last one was probably Mile Away, because I only wrote the chorus and the verses for that. And when we went into the studio with Sprinkle, that was the only unfinished song. Every other song was already done. We came in very prepared. We all knew our parts. We knew the song start to finish. Mile Away, we didn't have any idea what we were going to do on it. So I just had an acoustic guitar and sang him the verse and the choruses. And then Sprinkle said, "Okay, why don't you put a bridge on it?" And we just kind of figured out really quickly what the chord arrangement would be for the bridge. And then he kicked us out of the room and basically put it all together and put all the sounds on it and all the instrument stuff. And that was fun. So that one was a fun one to watch come together, because it took a lot of collaboration to make it come together, and it was very last minute. It was the last one we decided to put on the album, so that one was probably my favorite as far as just fun.
Wow, that's a lot. What was your favorite tour to go on?
Green Tea Tour. That one was one with Hawk Nelson. Your dad said the same?
He said the same thing.
I think that was everyone's favorite.
You would know that if you watched the last episode, or listened to it
Yeah, if you
actually.
watched episode 3, then you would know.
That one was one with Run Kid Run. It was us opening for Run Kid Run, and then opening for Hawk Nelson. So it was just 3 bands. The tour was like 3 months long. Yeah, and it was a couple different legs. I remember one of the legs ended in Spokane, Washington, and then we drove back from Spokane to Tulsa, which was like 32 hours.
Jeez.
And then the second leg of the tour picked up like 10 days later or something. So we had like a 10-day break in between. 2 of those days were took up driving, basically, from Spokane to Tulsa. But yeah, it was a 3-month tour all around. Everyone loved it. We loved every show. We had a blast on it. And it was our first real big tour to go on.
So what was your most embarrassing moment?
I don't think I have a most embarrassing moment. Just in general, I wrote the songs a little too high for my voice, so I blew my voice out basically every single night.
Okay.
So that was embarrassing, because most nights I would blow my voice out probably on the second or third song, and then it made it difficult to sing after that. We only played on that tour either 3 or 4 songs. We only had like a 15 to 20 minute set, I think, on that tour, maybe 20 minutes. I think we worked in 4 songs and then 1 cover. My voice did all right on that tour. There was one time we had to play a baseball at a baseball stadium. It was like a minor league baseball stadium. They had this tour called the Baseball Tour that Hawk Nelson did, and we opened up for them for some of those shows. One of the shows, Hawk Nelson got stuck. Their tour bus was stuck in traffic or something. For whatever reason, they couldn't make it, and they needed us to take their spot and play like a full hour. And I was terrified because my voice was not going to last an hour. And somehow, I don't know how, but that show, I was able to sing for a full hour. Normally, I wouldn't be able to do that. But that was my one and only time that I was really worried about losing my voice. I don't even know that we played a full hour for our own headlining sets. I don't think we did. I think the most we ever played was probably 35 minutes or so. So that 1 hour show is the longest I ever played. I don't know how, but miraculously my voice made it through it. Because there was times when I blew out my voice 10 minutes into the set. So those were the embarrassing moments, is just losing my voice too quickly every show.
What was the biggest crowd you sung to?
I don't know. I think some of the shows on the Hawk Nelson tour, I don't remember what they said the average was. Probably several hundred to 1,000 people. There was one show that I think was on... What was the name of that tour? Creation Tour. There was a tour we did called Creation Tour that lasted a few months as well. We did not like that tour. It wasn't very fun for us.
Why?
We played really, really early, and a lot of the promotion for the tour said that the tour would start at like 7, or said the show would start at 7 p.m. But they would put us on prior to that. There were a couple shows that they were having us play before doors even opened. So we would start playing, they would open doors, and people would just barely start trickling in. By the end of our first song, we weren't really happy with that tour overall. But there were a few shows on the tour that they had us start a little later, and for whatever reason, the crowd showed up much faster. And there was one show on that tour, I think, that had 3,000 people. I assume that was the biggest.
What?
I don't know. We played some festivals that had a big crowd out on the lawn that I have no idea how many people were there, but I assume around 3,000.
3,000.
Wow. Okay, so
That's crazy.
okay. What was your favorite band to play with?
Good one. That's probably Run Kid Run. Actually, I would say it is Run Kid Run. We did the Hawk Nelson tour, the Green Tea tour with Run Kid. We had also played a show with them prior to that tour where we met them back when our name was still After 8. That's where we originally met them. I don't know, a year later we went on tour with them in the Green Tea tour. Got really close with those guys, and then they were on the Creation tour with us. So that was another 2 months of touring or so. And then we played a bunch of different one-off shows, played at different festivals with them. So those were probably our closest friends. We liked touring with Hawk Nelson as well. They were the ones bringing in the big crowds, so we loved touring with them. And they were some really good guys too. And Run Kid were probably our best friends. And then I think you know Neil Ryland, don't you?
Neil, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guitar player of Run Kid Run.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, and so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're still pretty close with the Run Kid Run guys. They Neil, there was a long time where Neil and I were hanging out quite a bit. He was coming to Tulsa, or we were going up to St. Louis to hang out.
Oh, Neil's the one in St. Louis.
Yeah, Matt Jackson's in St. Louis too. No, Miles' dad is Matt Jackson.
Oh.
So yeah, Matt Jackson. We're close with him. Paul, David. So those were the best guys to tour with for us.
I have another one. What's your favorite song to sing?
Whatever the first song was we played, because my voice wasn't gone yet. Probably, I don't know what we started. I think we started with Out of Control. That would have been the easiest because my voice was still strong for the first song. Yeah, that was probably the best one to play just because it was our opening song most of the time.
What was your favorite band to play in?
Capital Lights. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What? How many bands?
How much bands did you have?
We did 24/7, and then we went. Then there was After 8, and After 8 lasted for quite a while, a few years. And then Capital Lights, and really Capital Lights, once we changed the name to Capital Lights, that was only about a year and a half. I think our first, so we got signed at the end of December 2007. We flew to Seattle January 1st, 2008. We were in Seattle from January 1st to January 29th of 2008 with Aaron Sprinkle recording the album. And then our last show was July 1st, 2009. So a year and a half later. So we lasted exactly a year and a half, almost to the day. And that was my favorite band. That was the best time. The previous bands had a lot of drama. And then I filled in for bass for a few bands here and there. But never lasted very long. But that at Capital Life was the best time.
How old were you and when did 24/7 start?
I was either 15 or 16. I don't know. 1999 maybe. Yeah, I think 1999 probably.
When did it stop and you joined after 8?
24/7 was probably 1999 to 2001-ish, and then after 8 was 2001 to 2007.
And then
Capital Lights was 08-09. Yep.
So, how do you like the band? Or do you regret moments, or do you just?
Nope, it was a good time. I don't think I have any regrets. We quit pretty early, but you know, there was a lot of reasons why the band broke up. But yeah, it was a good time. I don't really have any regrets. It was a good time.
If you could, would you like stop the band earlier than you did, or like keep it going?
If it was one or the other, we'd probably keep it going. But no, I don't wish we would have stopped any earlier. I think it worked out well with what it was, and now the streaming services like Spotify keep people listening to it all these years later. So we're still getting a lot of streams every year, a couple million every year. So
yeah, I've recently checked. How much do you think Outrage has on Spotify?
For this year, or all together? I have
altogether.
No idea.
I checked a couple days ago. It's 6 million.
6 million. See, that's cool. See, and we broke up in 2009.
Everybody's still listening.
Yeah, people still listening because of streaming services. So that's good. Still got young people out there listening to it who weren't even around back when we were playing.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I wasn't around. I've heard a lot of stories. Yeah, lots of stories.
Yeah.
Like one time when somebody was driving the van and it on a slippery highway and it went spinning.
We got caught in a couple blizzards, one in Minneapolis, or one between Minneapolis to Duluth, Minnesota.
What do you?
And then I don't remember which one it was when we started sliding, but yeah, the trailer came out to the side of us. I don't know how, but we made it out without a scratch, I think. Now that was the don't overcorrect story when Michael was screaming don't overcorrect throughout the whole thing.
Why did he scream that?
I mean,
because if you start sliding and you overcorrect, it'll make it worse. So he was yelling in my ear, don't overcorrect, and his face was right here. I was driving, and he was like in between the passenger and driver's seat screaming. Where are we at?
So
how many minutes?
I feel like one more.
Okay, cool.
So one more question. You have recording diaries. How fun was it to record those?
It was fun. Recording in Seattle was a blast. We loved that. That was the greatest time. I don't really remember a lot of the stuff that we recorded. I think Brett was the one that had the camera and had some kind of editing software back then. But yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. The whole time we were in Seattle, we were a bunch of early 20-year-olds and like 22, 23, so we were having fun.
So that's pretty cool. Well, we're almost done, so that's all we got for today. Thank you for having us. And well, last time we cut a little bit short, but you say it. This is the Music Bros.